Su Wanli was trying hard not to be affected by my thoughts, holding my hand while still struggling inside. Let's go quickly, don't keep Grandma waiting. With that, Su Wanli pulled me along and walked right past Song Jingnian. At that moment, Song Jingnian's smile could no longer hold up. My hand at my side clenched tightly, trying hard not to let my emotions show. I stood where I was, trying to calm my mood, then adjusted my expression again, and turned to walk toward the garden. In the garden, Madame Su wore maroon kipao, standing in front of blooming roses, holding a small pair of scissors in hand, snipping away with great interest. Next to her stood another elder with equally white hair. Grandma, we're back. Su Wanli walked over with me in tow. When Sheng spoke up, when Madame Su turned and saw me, a smile immediately appeared on her face. Chun is here. I was a little unsure. Did Madame Su actually know about the photo incident? I had no choice but to stay calm. I greeted her obediently. Hello, Grandma. Madame Su came over. She pulled me away from Su Wanli's side, then turned to the elderly man beside her and said, Quick, have the servants bring the frozen sweet dumplings from the fridge. Yichen likes them. Hearing frozen sweet dumplings, I couldn't help but feel surprised. How did Madame Su know I liked frozen sweet dumplings? The original person didn't like them at all. At that moment, the question in my heart was about to burst out. Grandma. Just as I was about to ask, Song Jingnian walked over. Smiling, he said, Grandma, and Zhao is here. Everyone turned around and saw Zhao Mu standing beside Song Jingnian. Her face was grim. She stepped in front of me and shouted, Kneel. Zhao Mu's sudden appearance took both Su Wanli and me by surprise, but Madame Su gave Song Jingnian a meaningful look, then restrained her smile a bit. She reached out and pulled me behind her to shield me. Mrs. Zhao, even if you want to discipline the child, there's a time and place. Madame Su's tone toward Zhao Mu was completely different from the one she used with me just a moment ago. And you just outright told me to kneel. Get real. The Qing dynasty is long gone, okay? If you want me to kneel, you'd better be worthy of it. Do you really think you're an empress? Of course, I wouldn't pass up such a good opportunity to stir up hate. Hiding behind Madame Su, I said. Su Wanli pinched the bridge of her nose, wishing I'd just behave for once. You're still talking back. Zhao Mu was at peak anger in that moment, because she had received a message from a stranger. The contents were photos of me and a strange woman at the hospital, along with sensationalized headlines from unethical media. The photos had been edited, as if to avoid offending the identity of that mysterious woman. Her image was blurred out for him. Only I appeared in crystal clear HD, face and all. The Zhao family's power was no match for the Su family. When I got engaged to Su Wanli, everyone in the Zhao family knew they were marrying up. Now I've completely ruined both my name and the Zhao family's reputation. Zhao Mu had always been cautiously preserving it, terrified of offending the Su family even slightly. After finding out I caused such a huge scandal, Zhao Mu couldn't sit still anymore. She came straight to the Su residence in person. So the moment she saw me, she shouted at me furiously. In the past, no matter how unlikable I was, in front of her as an elder, I would at least restrain myself a bit. But now, not only did I not admit fault, I even responded with sarcastic remarks. Zhao Mu gave me a fierce glare, thinking she'd deal with me properly once we got home. Then she softened her tone and politely spoke to Madame Su. Madame Su, it's my failure as a mother in raising him right. That's why he did such disgraceful things. Please rest assured, the Zhao family is not one without honor or shame. Bicken has done so many foolish things, and now we really don't have the face to cling to the Su family anymore. The engagement between the Zhao and Su families. Madam, I think it's best you call it off. Wanli is a good child. She deserves someone better. After saying that, Zhao Mu reached out to pull me away. But to her surprise, Madame Su showed no sign of being angry at all. In fact, she blocked Zhao Mu's hand. Her face turned cold, and she spoke in displeasure. You came in and started talking nonstop, from beginning to end. You never once asked what happened with Yichen. Is that how a mother should behave? Mrs. Zhao. Zhao Mu was left speechless, her eyes flickering between me and Madame Su. She opened her mouth, but stammered a little. Does Madame Su not know what he did? Then why don't you tell us? What exactly did Yichen do to make you come here as his mother and demand he kneel without even asking what happened? Madame Su said this while tightly holding my hand in her fist. Don't be afraid. Grandma is here today. Grandma will stand up for you. Her voice was so firm. It felt like it struck me right in the heart. I was a bit stunned. I looked at the hand holding mine, and a wave of warmth rose from deep within. It seemed like, past or present, no one had ever chosen me so firmly like this old woman did. At this moment, in my heart, Madame Su felt even more like family to me than Zhao Mu, who shares my blood. Su Wanli stood nearby, thinking she might hear something from my inner thoughts. But strangely, I was completely quiet, letting Madame Su lead me to the living room. Everyone sat down. All right, let me hear what this is all about. Madame Su had me sit beside her. A bowl of frozen sweet dumplings was still on the table in front of me. Madame Su, ignoring everyone else, told me to eat. Her smiling expression was filled with undeniable affection. Song Jingnian watched with a bit of jealousy. He'd been raised in the Su household for over a decade and never received such treatment from Madame Su. Grandma, about Bicken. Song Jingnian stopped halfway. He made a face like he was in a tough spot. He looked towards Su Wanli, who hadn't said a word this whole time. Although I believe little brother Yichen isn't that kind of person, this incident still has a big impact on the Su family. If you have something to say it. Stop beating around the bush. Madame Su was getting a little impatient. I was happily eating the frozen sweet dumplings, as if none of this had anything to do with me. Exactly. Just say the woman ruined my engagement, then appeared late at night at the hospital. There you go. Even the media has written up the perfect headline for you. Why not make good use of it? The people present could hear my thoughts. Su Wanli and Zhao Mu nearly lost their composure. Zhao Mu especially looked uncomfortable. Her eyes glared fiercely at me. Whether the plan succeeds or not, all depends on whether Song Jingnian does his part. Otherwise, if it turns out the person in the photo is me, the whole scheme will collapse once it's exposed. Last night, Yichen was photographed at the hospital with a woman. Online rumors say they went there for an abortion. Two voices finished speaking simultaneously. Zhao Mu suddenly gasped sharply. She coughed uncontrollably. Su Wanli quickly signaled the servant to pour some water, and politely handed her a tissue. And Zhao, please don't get worked up. Zhao Mu caught her breath slowly, and looked at me in disbelief. The woman in the photo was their family's eldest daughter. Zhao Mu directly ignored everything Song Jingnian had just said. She hurriedly took out her phone, opened the photo sent by the stranger, and looked at it repeatedly and carefully. That blurred face in the photo. Meanwhile, Madame Su listened to Song Jingnian with a blank expression, and showed no reaction at all. Seeing that no one responded, Song Jingnian started to feel that everything he said earlier sounded like tattling, so he quickly pulled out his phone. These are screenshots I saved this morning as evidence. Grandma, please take a look. As he spoke, he handed over his phone. Madame Su took the phone, then squinted at the photo. I was quietly peeking, waiting for Madame Su to blow up. But then she said, "Who took this photo? The technique's awful. They made Yichen look short." Wait, madam, you're missing the point here. Zhao Mu and Su Wanli stayed calm. Only Song Jingnian was losing it. How did things turn out so differently than he imagined? Wanli, go file lawsuits against the person who posted that tweet, and everyone who followed up with slander. Each one of them. With that, Madame Su handed the phone to Su Wanli. I was stunned. Help? What kind of potion did the original host feed Madame Su? Mind control soup. How can she trust me so unconditionally? This is not right. I can't let this great opportunity go to waste. I cleared my throat. I was about to put down my glass dessert bowl. But before I could, Su Wanli interrupted me. The person in the photo is Sister Zhao. This also concerns the Zhao family's reputation. Shouldn't we notify them? Su Wanli cut me off and asked Zhao Mu. Zhao Mu gritted her teeth and said, "Of course. How dare they spread rumors? We must sue them until they go to jail." I looked up at the ceiling. So speechless I felt like dying. How did Su Wanli know the woman in the photo was me? Sister. Su Wanli glanced at the now silent Zhao Mo. A faint smile forming at the corners of her lips. She had sent the screenshot to herself and didn't forget to delete the photo from Song Jingnian's phone. She wiped it completely. After doing all that, Su Wanli placed the phone back on the table. She said calmly, "I'll handle things like this in the future. Don't let Grandma worry again. Anyone could hear it." Su Wanli was warning Song Jingnian. Only I looked at her, disappointed she wasn't more ruthless. I secretly gritted my teeth. You call that handling it? Can we please stick to the script? Wait, is this some kind of murder mystery game script? Honestly, I was kind of annoyed. Now that the misunderstanding's cleared, my mission progress is back to 0. But if I don't make use of such a good opportunity, it feels like a waste. I looked at Zhao Mo. Before anyone could react, I suddenly slammed my spoon onto the table. The porcelain spoon instantly shattered in two. Everyone jumped in shock. Even Madame Su flinched a little. She looked at me with concern, then watched as I suddenly stood up. I first looked at Zhao Mu sitting across from me. I accused him. Are you happy now? You humiliated me in front of Su Wanli. You stepped on my dignity satisfied? I know ever since I returned to this family, none of you were willing to accept me. You all think I'm unworthy of being the young master of the Zhao family. My very existence embarrasses you. If that's the case, why did you even come looking for me? Why didn't you just treat me as dead? After my outburst, I didn't give Zhao Mu any chance to respond. I turned and launched at Song Jingnian next. And you plotted endlessly to ruin my engagement to Su Wanli, just so you could take my place. How does it feel now that your plan failed? Isn't it frustrating not getting what you wanted? I looked at him smugly, completely ignoring Madame Su's presence. After my fiery rant, I was hoping to slightly recover some mission progress. If even this didn't work, did I really have to find a mistress to make something happen? But if I did, I'd have to find someone prettier than Su Wanli. Otherwise, I'd just be hurting myself. Su Wanli was getting a bit of a headache. She glanced at the stunned Zhao Mo and at Madame Su, who looked at me with concern. To stop me from causing more trouble, she could only get up and drag me away. Where are you taking me? I tried to shake her off, but found that her grip was tight. She didn't reply. She just led me all the way to the garden restaurant. After Su Wanli took me away, only Madame Su, Song Jingnian, and Zhao Mu were left in the living room. No one had expected any of what had just happened. Madame Su stared at the broken spoon I had thrown. After a moment, she said coldly to Mrs. Zhao, "Yichen is the grandson I've chosen. From now on, I don't want to hear the words break off the engagement, unless he himself tells me he doesn't like Wanli and doesn't want to become the Su family's grandson-in-law. Only then will I accept it. As for you or the Zhao family, if you don't like Yichen, then let me be clear. The Su family can afford to raise him. If the Zhao family doesn't want him, the Su family does. Yes, I said it rather bluntly. Madame Zhao, I hope you understand. Yichen suffered enough as a child. I won't let him suffer again. If you don't welcome him, then let him live with me." Every word Madame Su said was filled with deep affection for me. If I hadn't known who my father was, even Madame Zhao would have started to doubt whether I was actually a lost child of the Su family. Same with Song Jingnian. No matter how much he thought about it, he just couldn't figure out what it was that Madame Su saw in me, but that didn't stop him from feeling threatened. Grandma, Bicken, and Su Wanli aren't married yet. Isn't it improper for him to move in? Madame Su cast a cold glance at Song Jingnian. What's so improper about it? Aren't you living in the Su family without being one of us? With that, Song Jingnian's face went pale. He clenched his fists tightly, unable to say a word. But Madame Su didn't stop there. She continued meaningfully. If you were smart, you'd hold on to your status as the child of heroes and live a good life instead of scheming. This was the harshest thing Madame Su had said. In the over 10 years Song Jingnian had lived in the Su family, though from the beginning, Madame Su hadn't liked that child much, because his parents had died and he was orphaned, all alone. So, when her son and daughter-in-law fostered him in the household, she turned a blind eye.